All right, guys. Well, we are in Unit 2, and we're going to be talking about civilizations and early humans and all this kind of stuff of really prehistory. And I don't spend a lot of time on it just because there's not a lot that we need to focus on. And paleontology is a great study, and they really go into depth on that. If you're interested in that, please, by all means, definitely do that. There's a merger a lot of times with the idea of science and theories and history, of course. And so we're gonna hit on some high stuff. I mean, one of my favorite episodes from Phineas and Ferb is when they create fire and Kentaka create fire. Those are fun stuff. But the bottom line is we're gonna hit on the highlights of the early humans, and we're not gonna spend a lot of time on it. So just understand that it's not something we focus on a lot of. All right, so here we go. These are the early humans. The beginning of man thought to have occurred in Africa. Again, these are all based on assumptions, right? And now a lot of times we call the cradle of civilization in the Middle East, in Iraq area, but technically we've found artifacts, fossils, and human remains that are older in Africa, and so this is kind of interesting. You see the parental advisory here, so we want to make sure that we keep everybody covered. And of course, carbon 14 is the dating, the traditional verified dating way in which we get some information about how old something is. Now, there are some discoveries, issues with carbon-14 dating, but for the most part, it definitely has the importance of this, of how to justify dating ideas of age. All right. So, migration of the early humans, you can kind of see the idea here. Since we are looking at Africa, the idea is, okay, where is it at? How did they get to the different places? Of course, there's some pathways up to the northern portions, and of course over to the Middle East. Now, again, this also deals with some of your religious type of views, right? So a lot of times this area right here is considered the cradle of civilization, but there's some different views and thoughts on that, and so we just need to consider that as well. Obviously, we got to be censored again. The 5 early hominids, I can't even say those, Neanderthal, Cro-Magnon, all those kind of things. If you've never gone to the Museum of American History in either New York or Washington, D.C., they are phenomenal, fascinating to go to. Of course, we've got some museums in North Carolina that I would highly encourage you to do that. So this is the lived 4 million years ago to 1 million years ago. Again, some of this is all based on conjecture. Some of this is based on just assumptions, dealing with, hey, this is how it could have happened. And of course, the development, this is dealing with evolution, and how does this really work. And so we're not going to get much into that. I'm just going to tell you what the standard course of study is on the assumptions there. And so Mary Leakey is probably one of the most well-known in the this area. And she discovers evidence that there's these creatures begin to walk upright, and how that all works. Again, Australopithecus, I can't say it, so I'm not going to even go, but that's where it is in Africa. All right, so this is Lucy. This is a full skeleton that's found of the species, and obviously some of the ways in which the shape of the forehead, shape of the mouth, and then of course the size and different things that really brings a lot to the table. If you are interested in this, definitely go a lot more in depth on this. So these are men of skill, and again, we've talked about the development of fire and of culture groups and civilizations, and that is one of the use of tools, that kind of stuff. So this is the idea of the first to make stone tools. Again, we're censoring here. used the tools to cut meat, crack bone. Evidence shown that they could cut elephant meat, which is obviously a big task or tusk, either one. All right, so the jokingly known as the handyman. These are some of the tools, the stone tools. And of course, this also brings up the idea of the Stone Age, right? And so we'll be talking more about that as far as the other side of history, and not the study of man, but the study of more the time periods. All right. So Homo erectus, this is the upright man, different than us, but definitely a lot closer to us than normal. Remains found in Africa, Asia, and Europe. So obviously there's spread of that. Obviously, they create fire in that, and then they develop new ways of using stone tools, digging, scraping, first to create, control and create fire, and thought to create spoken and oral language. And then you've got us, right? Homo sapiens, the common humans. This is the 100,000 to 400,000 time. They're considered the Cro-Magnon and Neanderthals are considered the first two early Homo sapiens in this. All right, so they traveled quite a bit different and much more vast, traveled from Africa, Asia, Europe, the Americas, and known as wise men. That is one of their terminologies there. So there's some comparisons there, different structure here. You got Cro-Magnon found in Europe, considered fully modern humans, created cave art, study animals and stalk their prey. Neanderthal found in Europe and Southwest Asia, first to have ritual burials, battled for food and land, and very muscular build, looked what our traditional view of cavemen were. And so this is a little bit of a timeline there that you can see, and then maybe how people got to different things. And of course, we've talked about before the spread, the ice age, and how people can spread. And you see this little landmass right there, or the spread over how it could have gone in that region right there. This is the lives of the early human. They lived in clans or small groups of people, were nomadic, meaning traveled place to place, and followed food sources, right? So they were hunters and gatherers. That is the term for that, and it really makes a big difference when you talk about hunter-gatherer as opposed to agricultural based, right? Because that definitely settled down. They didn't build things like we would normally see, all right? The lives of the early humans. They depended off of wild plants and animals. Men were usually the hunters, although that wasn't always the case from what we've researched. Women usually gathered. They were in constant search of shelter, water, food, vice versa. All right, so you've got the oldest cave paintings are found from 30,000 to 40,000 years ago. Found in caves across Europe as far well as Africa and Australia. And, European settlements and religious ceremonies and that kind of stuff. And as I've told you before, cave paintings are not my thing, but this is a Paleolithic cave painting, and then this is a Las Gil complex in Somalia, and then you've got a cave painting in hyena painting. They are obviously, this is a leopard here, and then a hyena, which they take on each other, all right? And then you got Spain, you got a cave painting as well. So let's talk about the Paleolithic and the Neolithic. All right, Neo is simply new. So Paleo is one, and new era, right? So physical needs: sewn animal skins to survive the Ice Age. Tools and weapons made of stone, bone, and wood, included digging, spears, and axes. Here are a couple of early tools that you can look at. Obviously, they're making weapons and making things to fight with and to hunt and kill. Cultural needs: you've got the cave paintings and communication. They valued animals, respected and cared for the dead, stress cooperation and collaboration among the nomadic bands. Of course, we've talked about the cave paintings that are a little bit more focused on their time period. So they had a lot of religious belief. They looked for animal spirits. Sometimes we call that animism. They painted half human, half animals. Of course, this is religious. You know, they're trying to explain where things came from, their origin, and in that they also believed in an afterlife. Right? They possibly had ancestor worship and cults that is kind of traditional along the older civilizations that they had. They worshipped their ancestors. Importance of women. They worshipped Mother Earth, giver of life and food. They gathered and stored. Pregnant women were often protected as vital for ensuring survival because of the death rate being so high. They knew that women were the only ones to produce. So the transition to this new era or new idea, the planet's climate, of course, turns warmer, which is gets rid of the ice age. First farming or agricultural revolution begins. We'll talk more about that later. And domestication of animals is huge at this time period. So this Neolithic era has larger populations. You have permanent settlements. You've got this new idea of governance, right? So and in governance, you've got laws and things that are assumed culturally significant. And so you bring up a lot of the things that we'll be talking about later with early civilizations. You got the farm tools, so these are a lot more advanced than previous ones. Instead of just stone, you actually have handles and things that you have can tie things to. You've got bowls, things that people are using for various reasons. And then of course you've got settlements. And one of the most the oldest is Anatolia in Turkey, and then Jericho, which is near present day Israel. And these are obviously villages that they bring together all that. So I know very quick overview of this time period. You might not have thought it was quick, but I'm going quick because I want you to understand that it is important, but we want to get to a little bit more focused, and we're not going to spend a lot of time even testing on it either. Okay, so here we go. That is it for this, the early man. All right, bye.